Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Winner takes all, Spence and Tszyu. We're going to keep talking about them. Listen, man, I'm surprised to hear how many people feel that Errol Spence is going to lose to Tszyu. Now, I'll tell you, I follow boxing like y'all, but maybe I'm just not used to seeing former Spence fans come out here and speak against Errol Spence Jr. Now, they still say they love him. They still say they're going to be rooting for him. They just don't feel he's going to win. And they're like, look, Hood, Tszyu is active, Tszyu is strong, Tszyu is aggressive, and Errol Spence doesn't have enough head movement. He's no longer with Derek James. He's in between trainers. He's with Ronnie Shields, and he's been out the ring for 3 years. They're like, just because he's Errol Spence, you can't just come out here and say and predict he's going to win the fight. They're like, be real. If he wasn't Errol Spence, would you give that person a chance? If he was a fighter who no one heard of, would you give him a chance? I'm like, well, Errol Spence isn't just anybody. This man was out here doing the business at 147. I was like, so you got to give him some credit. Doesn't mean that I expect you to say he's going to win, but you can't just come out here and say Errol Spence is the average Joe. He's not the average Joe. And their argument was, well, he's been inactive. And I get it, he has a name. But you can't expect him to perform any better than an average Joe coming off of the inactivity, especially with the damage he took to Terrence Crawford. So my thing is this. Errol Spence and Tszyu. Who wins that fight? I don't know. But I do know whoever has the better head movement is probably going to be around long enough to put the other person on the back foot. Errol Spence isn't the kind of guy who can fight off his back foot. Errol Spence, his success has come from being on that front foot, applying that pressure, and chopping down opponents. Tszyu is the kind of fighter who's had a lot of success with being on that front foot, applying pressure, and chopping down opponents. Whoever can get on that front foot and stay on that front foot is going to have the upper hand in the fight. Now, Errol Spence, he can crack. Tszyu, he can crack. So you're going to have a crackerjack. And I like crackerjacks. But it's like, okay, what's going to be inside the box? A victory for somebody. And it's kind of hard for me to kind of give a prediction. But if you say who you're leaning towards, look, man, I ain't into all this race shit like some people on the internet. So fuck y'all. But if I sit here and take the emotion out of it, I think Tszyu should win the fight. He's with Pedro Diaz, a new trainer. You can't talk about that no more because he's fighting here. He's about to fight. And Tszyu has already fought once with him. He's been training with him for a while. Tszyu and his trainer are meshed by this point in time. By the time he fights Spence, he used to hearing Pedro Diaz's direction, understands what's expected of him, understands the game plan. There's trust there. Tszyu is bringing that into the ring. It's one thing if Tszyu was just coming off of the Murtazali loss, got a new trainer, and his first fight after the loss with his new trainer, he was going against Errol Spence. Then I would say, yo, we need to hold our horses, not take it to the stupid. This could be all bad for Tszyu. But Tszyu has got the momentum going. Now, Errol Spence has come out here and said, look, basically that, Tszyu thinks shit is sweet. I'm telling you, man, I like Tszyu. Everyone knows I like Tszyu, but I like Errol Spence too. But I just always watch these fighters who leave the trainer they have been with forever and they hook up with these other trainers and they don't look the same. I can't help but think about Daniel Jacobs after he left Rozier. He never looked the same. Triple G when he left Abel Sanchez, Sanchez, whatever his name is. He left him. Triple G ain't look the same. So when these fighters leave their trainers, some of them don't look the same, man. Shane Mosley left his dad. He ain't look the same. Stay with what's working, man. You have a loss here, there, so what? But Tszyu left, and he's looking a little bit different. Of course, he didn't fight anybody on the level of Errol Spence. I mean, I'm not naive, and I'm not going to take it to the stupid. But at the end of the day, with Errol Spence, I hope he's working everything out in training camp. You know what I'm saying? And going to be 100% prepared. Ronnie Shields has an amazing stable of fighters. He's proven. But I'm just telling you, man, anybody out here just saying, Errol Spence is going to win, my thing is, okay, why? Like, take the emotion out of it. When you look at it on paper, Errol Spence ain't supposed to win this fight. New weight class. There's too many unknowns. But if he gets through Tszyu, well, then we could say, okay, obviously he's back. But he's got to take some damage. Like, if he just comes there and throws the first shot, lands, and knocks Tszyu out, that proves nothing to me. Nothing. So I want to see how the fight goes. But anyway, to me, it's winner takes all. Because now you got the Jerome Boots in this fight out there. Fundora is supposed to be fighting Josh Kelly. Good luck to Josh Kelly. That's all I'll say. But that Boots fight is interesting. And because of Errol Spence's profile, I tell you what, there'll be more opportunities for Errol Spence if he wins than there will be for Tszyu. I do. I think if Errol Spence wins, I think he's up and away. For real. Because of him. And there's such a demand to see him. You know what I mean? Errol Spence's demand is ridiculous. Y'all understand basic economics. The more the demand for a low supply of something, the price goes through the roof. Errol Spence, there's only one of him. He's coming back. He's making good money fighting in Australia. But if he wins that and he comes back and fights in Dallas, Errol Spence may walk into a $50 million payday. There's money there for Errol Spence. He go right there in Dallas and fight. Sell out that shit. Anyway, who y'all got winning? I think this is a very interesting fight, but I think depending on who wins, it's going to be up and away. And just on paper, I got to go with Tszyu. But, I kind of I like Errol Spence. I like his story. I like Tim. I like them both, man. I'll just say, I just think Tszyu may get him. But if Errol Spence gets him, then, that means that he's back. But when I laid it out the way I just explained it to y'all, it's just too many unknowns, man. I know he like me. That man eat curry goat and shit, and he eat barbecue and collard greens. I'm just like him. Me and that man, same thing. Similar background. They Jamaican. I'm Trini. He got the American influence. I got that too. I got everything. Me and that motherfucking everything. You know what I'm saying? So I rock with him there. But if I just went with that, I'd be picking Errol Spence. But I can't do that. I gotta say, forget my biases. Because if I come over here and bubbling up a little fucking breadfruit and saltfish, Errol Spence and I'd be sitting there yamming and shit. But forget that. Just as boxing, when I put it on paper in the black and white, no emotion, Tszyu's supposed to win. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.